Hey guys, it's your girl Nalet, and welcome to the Beanbag. Today we're gonna talk about books. So, growing up, I wasn't allowed to have a gaming console, so my only entertainment was watching TV and reading books. Now, my favorite thing about books is that it's like going into a whole new world with a whole new bunch of people. And as you explore the world, you get to explore the characters, their growth, and you get to learn not only about them, but about yourself as well. Books have also been a source of comfort for me in times where I felt like I was alone. So today, I thought I'd take you through some of my personal favorite books. And yep. The first book, Who Moved My Cheese, is about 4 characters. 2 of them are mice, Sniff and Scurry, and 2 of them are little people, Hem and Haw. Hem and Haw are the characterization of, ponderance and making up your mind. You know when you're going, that's Hem and Haw. The other thing to note is that cheese is the figurative representation of your situation in life, your comfortability, or if something in your situation changes. So this book is about, like I said, Hem, Haw, Sniff, and Scurry. And they live in a maze, and they wake up every day to look for cheese. And one day they happen upon Cheese Station C, which has had the most cheese they've ever found. And they start eating this cheese day by day until it finishes. Now the 2 mice, Sniff and Scurry, have realized that the cheese finished because they've been eating it. They decide to go and look for more cheese, and they find Cheese Station N. Hem and Haw at first are upset and angry that the cheese, is finished. Hem decides, I'm staying here, I'm not going anywhere. Haw, on the other hand, is scared, but he decides he's going to go and look for more. As he goes, he writes little, cheese nuggets of wisdom on the wall of the lessons he's learned. And then Haw comes across Cheese Station N, which has way more cheese, and it's got cheeses he has never even tried. And so he wonders to himself whether he should go and fetch Hem, but ultimately he decides that he will let Hem look for the cheese and find the cheese station when he's ready. And Hem represents that paralyzing fear. Haw represents overcoming that fear. That is the biggest takeaway from this book ever. Go and read the book, and I hope that it leaves you with a cheese nugget of wisdom. The next book is Holes. This book is honestly one of the best books I have ever read. So this book is about Stanley Yelnats, and his family has had bad luck for generations. It all began with his great-great-grandfather, and that's where the generational consequences flow from in his family. And Stanley gets convicted of a crime that he didn't commit and is sent to a juvenile facility called Camp Green Lake, where he meets a host of other characters, but the most important one is Zero, who is the great-great-grandson of Madame Zeroni, who helped Stanley's great-great-grandfather, but Stanley's great-great-grandfather broke the promise that he made to Madame Zeroni, and thus she cursed the Stanley family, hence his bad luck. And as you read the book, you find out how not only Stanley and Zero's characters are intertwined, but even the warden. This book does touch on things like the justice system in the United States, juvenile facilities, and how people can be dealt with in a cruel way, i.e. the physical manual labor. This book also has a very strong theme of friendship. That's evident in the actions that Stanley takes in the end to help his friend. I'm not going to say anymore. If you can, get the book, read the book. It's definitely worth reading. The next book I have is called I'm Not Dying With You Tonight. Co-written by two authors, and this brings a unique perspective to each character. There's two different characters and two different texts. One is bold and red and the other is cursive. There you go, so you guys can get a look. This book is about two girls, Lena and Campbell. Lena is African American. She's popular at school. She's got her friends and she's got her deadbeat boyfriend, Black. And then there's Campbell, who is a white girl who has just transferred to Lena's school. So what happens is there's a football game at their school on a Friday night, which they both attend for very different reasons. A fight breaks out and the cops arrive, and then it becomes a fight, and then they have to leave the school. As they're leaving the school, they encounter a protest turned into a riot. They have to essentially lean on each other and rely on each other to survive the very traumatic events that they go through. And throughout the book, you learn that the plan is to get to Lena's boyfriend, Black, who never seems to be where he says he's going to be. As they go through it, you can see that Campbell doesn't understand Lena, not only from a personal perspective, as she doesn't understand African Americans, and she doesn't understand why people would loot, and she doesn't understand, the position that Lena is in. And at the same time, Lena doesn't understand Campbell. She has her own assumptions about Campbell being a white girl. They have to confront those assumptions that they have about each other, and they also have to confront what their prejudices are and the way they think. And what I really liked about this book is that they separated and alternated how each character thinks and feels throughout the night. The book doesn't necessarily come to a whole conclusive ending and understanding. What I would have appreciated is almost an epilogue from the authors explaining what happens after. I feel like that would have given more of a rounded off end, whereas it does have some question marks at the end, which I would have loved to have seen addressed. But otherwise, this is a really brilliant book. It's truly, truly something. The next book is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. At first, seems like a play because it does establish the place and the myth and the legend that surrounds our story. It's basically 4 short stories about different characters who visit this cafe in a neighborhood in Tokyo, Japan, because they have heard that you can go back in time. And first of all, yes, in this cafe you can go back in time, but there are rules. No matter what you do or say in the past, it doesn't change the present situation. The first story is called The Lovers, and it's about a very successful career woman who realizes she didn't say everything she needed to say to her boyfriend, who was moving to America through a job. And for that reason, she wants to go to the past. The next story is called The Lovers, and it's an endearing story about a husband who has early onset Alzheimer's, and he wishes to give a letter to his wife. The third story is a story called The Sisters, and it's about a bar owner who has cut her ties with her family, and she wants nothing to do with her family. But then tragedy strikes her family and she has to go back home. She goes back to the past in order to understand why her sister has been looking for her all this time, and to understand, her family's situation. And then the last story, Mother and Child, it's about the co-owner of the said cafe who is pregnant, and she wants to go to the future in order to meet her unborn child. I will leave it there. The last book, The Hen Who Dreamed She Could Fly. This is honestly by far one of the most beautiful and emotional books I have ever read. So this book is about Sprout. She is a hen who only lays eggs, and her eggs are taken every morning by the farmers, and her heart breaks every time because all she wants to do is raise one of her eggs. So she concocts a plan to escape. She escapes and she goes to the barn where the other animals are only willing to have her for a night. Eventually Sprout is kicked out of the barn and she comes across an egg, and she realizes that the egg doesn't have parents, and so she sits on the egg and she nurtures the egg, and the egg hatches and it's a duck. She tries to go back to the barn and they taunt her and tell her no, only ducks should be raising ducks, and she says no, she's going to raise this duck by herself, and so she does. She sacrifices and does everything she can to provide for him, teach him the best way she knows how. And we come across the weasel, who also has children, and he kills ducks in order to feed his children. And season after season, she protects her son, looks after her son, until one season the ducks come around and he goes off with the ducks. In the end, Sprout is killed by the weasel. You realize that it's come full circle. Sprout has done everything she can do as a mother. She's lived her full life. The story is essentially about how even though you may not look alike as a family, that's okay. As long as you love each other and see each other as family, then nothing else should matter. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please do leave any comments down below. Let me know what you thought. Do you want more and what? And I will definitely see you guys next time.